Dubai is a global tourism hotspot. The city's bustling malls and eye-widening skyscrapers attracted 1.2 million British visitors in 2018. Its airport is a travel hub, and the world's third largest in terms of passengers. However, there's a darker truth behind Dubai's glamour. Before starting the video, make sure to subscribe to our channel, The Dubai Method. Until the 60s, Dubai was a small port city, reliant on the trade of gold and pearls. The discovery of oil kickstarted growth, causing the population to rapidly increase. However, by the 1980s, it became clear that the economy required diversification, and so investment was poured into the tourism sector. The city has a strategic location, at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, and receives the majority of its visitors from these areas. It is through this unique combination of factors that Dubai has grown into a beach paradise over the past 30 years, and its success serves as a model for many other oil-producing Gulf countries. The UAE maintains clear distinctions between its native population, or Emiratis, and its migrant workers. Only 15% of the population of the UAE are Emiratis, with the overwhelming majority of the population being migrant workers from South and East Asian countries. Only Emiratis, or spouses of Emiratis, are permitted to become citizens of the UAE, and so a deep social divide runs through the country, with a state-enforced social hierarchy. Although there is an option of naturalization, it is notoriously strict, and requires 30 years of prior residence. The UAE legislates that businesses cannot be run solely by a non-citizen, and so migrants often enter partnerships with Emiratis, whereby their partner will maintain a majority stake, despite playing little to no role in the business. Most migrant workers have their work permits sponsored by Emirati citizens, under a system known as kafala, which is prevalent throughout the Middle East. In this way, workers are effectively legally bound to their employers, a system which has been compared to modern-day slavery by Amnesty International. Upon arrival in the UAE, many migrant workers have their passports seized by their employers for the duration of their contract, making it virtually impossible for them to leave their contracts. Migrant workers tend to be uneducated and from poor backgrounds, and so lack the ability to make an informed decision as to whether they should enter a contract in the first place. Gulf countries offer images of grandeur and a better lifestyle to prospective migrants, when their reality is much less attractive. Squalid living conditions are typical for these workers, who commonly live in crowded dormitories for the duration of their contracts, and send most of their earnings back to their families as remittance. Migrant workers in the UAE are allowed very few workers' rights. They are not permitted to form trade unions or take strike action, and are faced with deportation or imprisonment should they do so. Therefore, complaints are uncommon, as workers would rather endure their condition than risk deportation. Effectively, migrant workers are the underbelly of Emirati society. With South Asian workers, from India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, making up the majority of construction workers, and Filipinos prominently making up the service and hospitality sectors. This being said, money sent by migrant workers in the Gulf as remittance makes up a large proportion of the economies of areas such as Kerala, in India. The Keralan diaspora in the Gulf totals to approximately 2.5 million people, with remittances representing 35% of the state's GDP. Workers, who are usually men, will often leave their families for numerous years, while their families rely on the money sent back as remittance. Whilst the wages paid to these workers are often low, they still convert well into the weaker currencies of South and East Asia. Despite this, more than 80% of complaints filed against employers are delayed and many fail to ever fully pay wages. The troubling condition of migrant workers has only been exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic, as concerns grow over the potential of crowded labor camps to become hotbeds of disease. The pandemic has caused the tourism industry in the UAE to collapse, and so many workers have had their contracts terminated, leaving them in legal limbo and without means of survival. Repatriation schemes for migrant workers by the Pakistani and Indian governments are currently underway, with India's repatriation mission set to be the world's largest in peacetime. However, the need for such a mission raises questions over the blatant disregard for migrant workers in the UAE. Realistically, migrant workers are a cheap source of manpower, and continue to fuel the rise of most Gulf countries, especially the UAE. The UAE's tourism boom has been built on the backs of these migrant workers, who are effectively inferior members of Emirati society, and denied freedoms stipulated by the International Labour Organization. Furthermore, Dubai is an Islamic state and keeps all the Islamic traditions in its heart. It is incredibly significant that when visitors tour Dubai they must appreciate and act well as per the Islamic laws. The minorities of Dubai are very protective of Islamic customs and laws. Dubai is mostly known as the amusement center of the Middle East, which pulls many entertainment lovers from across the world. Particularly those who are wealthy people, throw out on the numerous expensive sites in the capital. Dubai administration still restricts the local citizens to avoid such entertaining non-Islamic services allowed. In this regard, these delightful services are usually placed in touristy spaces and restricted in residential areas. Alcohol is not prohibited in Dubai, but limited or restricted in some of the hotels, bars, and nightclubs. Dubai residents can drink alcohol at their homes, but they must have a license that is issued by the local administration. The pork meat is allowed and available, but only for non-Muslim visitors. Alcohol is not allowed in public areas like shopping malls, streets, etc. Dubai administration strictly advised the visitors to don't exercise the Western culture on the streets or public places, to avoid an offensive action by the other nationals. Dubai's nationals are also very friendly and very famous regarding their hospitality, especially for foreigners. People of Dubai like to wear their traditional dresses according to their Islamic faiths. Emirati men prefer to wear long dashdasha while women love to wear abaya. All foreign visitors are also advised to wear an appropriate dress during their visit to Dubai. Tourists are also allowed to capture the beauty of Dubai, which they maintain. So feel free to take the photographs. But there are also some sorts of restrictions during photography, like sensitive military installations and other important government buildings. Visitors never allow the pictures of the Emirati women at any cost. Although a visit to Dubai offers a glamorous short trip abroad, it is important to remember that everything you see has been built by, or employs migrant workers. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel, The Dubai Method. See you next time.